Welcome to this session. We need to really start because we see our presenters are all here. And welcome to this very interesting and powerful session that is climate resilience, sanitation, and private sector engagement. And we have 4 papers here, and I have read all the 4 papers, and I found it they are very interesting. Someone is talking about private sector engagement, someone is talking about climate resilience sanitation facilities, someone's talking about is it black? Shoulder flies. Very interesting. I learned it, it's my apology, I learned it very lately. And I found it very, very interesting because we are having a lot of waste management issues, and these flies probably can solve many of our problems that we are facing, both fecal sludge and also the organic sludge, right, organic waste. Right, so since we are a bit late, so I don't want to sort of prolong my speech at this stage. So rather, we should start our session. And the structure is the presenter will have 10 minutes to present their findings, right? And then followed by 5 minutes questions and answers sessions. So that's how we structured it. So may I now invite Arjun to present his paper, right?
And I'm always fortunate to have a session after lunch, and it's quite fascinating. Last time also I was having a session after lunch. It's a time we all used to take a nap, so I request not everyone to take a nap. And 10 minutes is what I have here. So my name is Arjun. I'm coming from WaterAid India. We are having this paper written by three of my colleagues along with me. So one is Amita Patria, she's working as sanitation specialist, and Purna Chandra Mohan is a technical officer with WaterAid, and myself, Arjun Kakkat. I am a wash specialist for hygiene, behavior change, and wash in institutions. So dwelling into the context, the study focuses on the state of Odisha, which is the 8th largest state in the country, having more than 30 to 40 million populations, which is in the rural and urban settings. It is known mostly for the temples and tribal cultures and beaches around the eastern belt of the part of the country, and it's covered with the Bay of Bengal region also. Chilka Lake is in Odisha, is one of the common lake which is there, and it's the largest home of migratory birds and Indian subcontinent. So our study has been mainly focused on the urban and rural context, in which we have tried to understand what are the coastal challenges which is happening to the communities on water, sanitation and hygiene, and try to understand what are the remedies which we can provide through a kind of community-based, involved, traditional practices solutions. So the coastal line of Odisha, if I say, it's like 485 kilometers if we are talking about a few of the context. And it's the climate conditions of the Odisha state is kind of in a brink of a line where it is having high humidity and at 35 to 40 degree temperatures, and also an average rainfall of 150 centimeter. In this context, acting how we try to understand, focused on the studies on mapping the vulnerabilities of wash of these communities who are there in urban and rural communities, and also on the analysis on the mitigation and adaptation strategies, which we try to understand through literature reviews and the government policies and programs which are there in the country. We also try to focus on the Odisha State Disaster Management Authority policies, which is one of the strongest pillars in the state, in the country, I should say, where they have tried to analyze and mitigate the climate and other disaster resilience in the state. At the end of the presentation, we will see some policy recommendation. We try to dwell into mainly the national flagship programs in the country which is happening, and try to integrate how climate resilience we can influence in those key national policies and programs. Yeah, so we have been hearing what is the linkages of wash and climate change. So in context of linkages, we have the UNDRR, the IPCC publications in which it is written that 3.6 billion people live in areas of high vulnerability to climate change. And impact on wash and disaster is natural resources and infrastructure, which we try to focus on our points, which is on water pollution, saline intrusion, groundwater pollution, and defense sanitation. So these are the core areas which we try to understand. So we try to make a wash infrastructure linkage with wash and climate change. Going more into this state of Odisha, as I mentioned, there is a 30 districts, there's a typo. So 30 districts are there in the state of Odisha, where 26 is highly climate vulnerable as per the Government of India guidelines, Government of India derivations. And external floods have risen severely, fold having more than 12.6 million. So Odisha is such a state that which is affected every year with cyclones and floods because of the tropical climate which is the Odisha is having, and it's in the flux of a Bay of Bengal region. We try to focus on one particular district so we can show the rural and urban linkages on wash and climate disasters. We try to understand the Odisha urban areas where the wash infrastructure is happening, which is mainly focusing on the slums, and in the Bhadrak district, which is completely focused on rural areas. So Bhadrak district is also having a coastal region of around 80-85 kilometers where the economy is highly focused on agriculture. And the district is also having saline intrusion because it's very near to the coastal belt. Well, dwelling into the situations, the challenges faced by the community is like they are forced to relocate because of the water situations are not there for them. And the coastal region, the disaster is affecting, so it is affecting their economy. And also adverse effect on livelihood is a major important cause. Public health concerns and limited access to wash facilities because they have been using the traditional practices. I would like to add few of the disasters which happened in the coastal Odisha in the last 10 years, 15 years maybe. There have been like around 9 super cyclones which has happened in the state of Odisha. Last has been the Gulab, Yas and Amphan, which happened in 2021. 3 of it hit in the last 3 years. So these are some of the case areas which we have tried to got into. Domubadi Basti and Bhagwati Basti, some of the urban slums which have no hand pumps, no sanitation facilities, the water sewage pipelines are being directly dumped into the rivers. These are the situation which was happening. The common vulnerability I've tried to map into this PPT, in which it is showing that narrow congested lanes are there, which is also restricting the sanitation facilities. Even if there is a septic tank, the containment system is there, desludging is not possible. Disruption of institutional services, water logging, inaccessibility, water quality and infrastructure damage are the most common things which, as we know, happening in the urban slums. These are some of the pictorial representations where you can see that is the lake which I've been talking about, in which direct dumpage of sewage is being done. The pipe water supply system is not much effective, it's a temporary system, and the water is being drained directly into the rivers. Proper infrastructure, no containment system, the water quality is a major issue, and the contamination of water is taking place at a high level as per the water quality standards not being met actually. So these are some pictorial representations of the urban slums in the Bhubaneswar. Well, coming to the rural context of the Bhadrak district, as I mentioned, we tried to map 2 villages in there, Amrutapur village and the Sarbubasni village, where we found out that the household is having water facilities. Most of them are like kind of potable water, but having a small saline touch into it. It gets severe during summer, there is no water. It gets flooded during the monsoon season because of the coastal region. Public health has been kind of major risk in the villages because people doesn't understand how they are being affected because of the salinity intrusions. Impact on livelihood, grey water, there is no grey water management, so the black water and the grey water is being like polluted all over the village. This is the common scenario which we saw in the villages. Few pictures as shown in the urban context. These are the lakes which are there, or water body structures which are there already in the villages. This is a household structures which is there, and this is the high-raised hand pumps which is showing there. This is the community discussions which we had with the community members. So innovation and intervention, if we talk about, one of the major highlight of this study, or one of the major things which we have been driven towards to do, is that to understand, instead of like being a enforcing agency to that this is the study and this is what you need to do, we try to understand what are the traditional practice or the ongoing existing practices in the village and communities. So already since the flood levels are being high and the water table is high, the salinity intrusion is there, the village has already been adapting to some of the climate resilient strategy by knowingly or unknowingly. Some of them have high plinth level. When they're constructing a house, they have a high plinth level which is high, at least 3 to 5 meters above the ground level. They have drinking water collected and then stored and then decontaminated and then boiled and then they are drinking. So there is a process which they are naturally taking up in the villages. Shelters like schools and Anganwadis have been equipped with minimum basic facilities, although it has been kind of like flooded away. But these are the small adapting strategies which they have been using and co-living with. So innovation and interventions, we try to understand in water is like which are the major natural ponds in the villages. We try to understand what is the water quality standards in those ponds, what are the scenarios, existing practices, and how we can rejuvenate those ponds. So we try to understand the causes of it, and we came to understanding that it has been used as a dump yard, draining wastage directly into the water lobby, and waterborne diseases are being actually being starting from that ponds as well. So these are some pictorial which I will come to you. If you see the last line, because of time limits, if you see the last line, there is a saline intrusion which we understood. So while going deep into the village community, we understood in the rural context especially, there is a lot of saline intrusion in which the water is being taken from the ground levels of salinity. So we try to map what is the situation in that. So, and this is just a pictorial representation. These are observatory pictures which we created, and from the OSDMA, Odisha State Disaster Management Authority. And we understood that there has been a pushback of fresh water and the saline water, and there is a congestion where the people are getting a kind of sweet water in that case. So we try to map that and understand from the community. This is a kind of pictorial representation, but as we all know, what are the confined aquifers? We try to make the people understand about what is the soil structure, what is the water confined aquifers, and what is the unconfined aquifer, how they are getting the water, what you should do for the groundwater recharge. These scenarios have been explained in detail to the community members during our FGDs. Coming to the innovations through adapting the waters in the villages, what we focused on is to make a high-raised flood disaster resilient water supply system. Pipe water supply system we have been provided over there, and also high-raised water points have been also, which is in the main schools we have provided, because we understood the key areas which during the flood the community goes into the schools as a type of relief camps. So there we try to map and provide a kind of structure which is like accessible to everyone. So this is a accessible, friendly, or the child friendly, or whatever point we can take up in this climate disaster resilient solutions is this water point we have been provided. And some innovation interventions in the sanitation is like high raised, disabled friendly sanitation solution with a high raised soak pit. Twin leach pit is being provided. Twin leach pit is something which we have been promoting in the country for as a on-site sanitation solutions in the villages. And some technological interventions have been also piloted. So we are also in the verge of piloting few interventions in terms of sanitation. We have Jokosu, EcoST, PD Watch, soak pit with reed belts, and everything have been tried in the Odisha belt. It is under the study of whether the effect is being used, or whether this is a climate and disaster resilient study is ongoing, which we'll be doing in the coming years. So last of the thing which I wanted to do is that these are some of the flagship programs which is there ongoing in the country. We have Swachh Bharat Mission, SBM Urban, SBM Gramin, which focuses mainly on to achieve universal sanitation coverage for all. SBM Urban is ongoing. SBM Gramin first phase is done and completed. We call ourselves open defecation free country, where the sustainability aspect is already ongoing, where we are already providing toilets to the people who have not been provided. Amrit is a urban scheme which is running in the country. Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which is a kind of 100 days labor being provided to the villagers, which ensure that 100 days labor is being provided through any of this engagement with the government system. JJM is called Jal Jeevan Mission. It's a pipe water supply, rural drinking water supply system to all the households and institutions in the country. Is being run. It started in 2021. It's ongoing. First phase is till 2024, and second phase is till 2028. NULM and NRLM is the National Urban Livelihood Mission and National Rural Livelihood Mission. So, in conclusion, what we try to understand is that we went deep dive into these policies or the missions which is there, and we understand that where we can tap into the climate resilient and disaster resilient factors into these policies. So in case if we take up the SBMG scheme, so Swachh Bharat Mission is providing toilet structures with a twin leach pit. So we try to influence the policy saying that this twin leach pit should be high raised, having a plinth level of minimum 3 to 5 meters in the disaster resilient, or area specific or geoclimatic situation specific interventions have to be provided rather than upscaling it into only a normal concepts. So these kind of infrastructure engagements or kind of policies influencing is being done through all the schemes. For JJM, Jal Jeevan Mission is water supply, so we try to influence that the water supplies and security system needs to be climate and disaster resilient. And these are the few of the key recommendations which we tried, which is already I tried to conclude in terms of policy integration, capacity building. One key recommendation which we have understood from the field is that involving the community to take up decision making in their community is the best of thing which we can do. And this is the first type of study which we try to integrate the existing practices and then giving a solution which is already in their mind. And a lot of communications through which we have understood that they are accepting this rather than implementing something onto them. And gender lens is something which we'll be trying to focus on the coming days. So that's a kind of recommendations I've tried to conclude here. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we learned about this interesting presentation, and we would like to listen to you now if you have questions, because Arjun identified a lot of issues in his presentation, starting from region-specific solutions and resilient solutions, water and sanitation, right? So, and particularly the use of rainwater to dilute the salinity and also recharging groundwater. Very interesting, a lot of information in his presentation. So I'd like to listen from you. If you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you.
What I found in India, most of the local government leaders are highly motivated to working for WASH, especially even for the sanitation. So it is absent totally here. But what is the reason behind this? That what the variable, which are the variables who worked well to motivate the local government leaders, which work very well? Thank you.
So we'll take one question at a time. So thank you for the question, sir. So I think that piece is not mentioned here, but we do work with the urban local bodies and also the Gram Panchayat system as per the administrative setup in India. We have closely worked with them. And so the study, mostly it's not a research scholar study. So what we did is like we had the privilege to go to the government department and then take up the policies and then review it and then give recommendations, and also some of the literature reviews which I've used. In this study, as per your questions, main thing is that we are, Odisha is a state which is like highly into disaster, and they have a huge setup of Odisha State Disaster Management Authority. And it is one of the state which have issued a OSDMA policy, disaster resilient policy in the country. And they are very much welcoming for these kind of innovation and discussions which we have there. And we didn't find any problem while communicating with the government. Like we have to do the study in a Bhadrak kind of district. Because it was a kind of district which we are intervening directly and we have a kind of rapport with them. So salinity intrusion something is what they are also focusing to curb in the coming days, and they openly welcomed us for these discussions. And it was just a meeting which we did, but rather than going for a proper study, it was just a kind of meeting we had. Yeah.
Any other questions? Probably it's well understood by everyone. Good. Right, so if you don't have any other questions, thank you, Arjun, for your excellent presentation.
Thank you for listening to me after the lunch session. Thank you.
Thank you. No, they listened to your presentation very minorly. So now I'd like to invite another presenter, salinity effect on fecal sludge, the treatment using black soldier fly larva. So I think it's a very interesting presentation. I'm also looking forward to learn from this presentation. So welcome the Dyah Putri, for your presentation. So you have 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share my research in this occasion. I'm really glad to see you and share about our research in this event. Okay, today I would like to share about the salinity effect on fecal sludge treatment using black soldier fly larva. The research was held by me and also my students, Lintang Salwa, and also my colleagues, Mayrina Firdayati. And then it's in the collaboration with the local NGOs in Indonesia, which is Laptek Apung, and funded by the Korita Water and Sanitation Foundation. Okay, too small, but okay. As the background, it has the link with the previous speaker that we are working on the coastal area, yeah, and Indonesia is actually the islands, yeah, the islands country. So there are many communities that live in the coastal area. But in here, I emphasize about, I think the previous presenter also mentioned about when we give or we build the on-site system in the coastal area, the fecal sludge management becomes the other problems. First, what I emphasize here is about the transportation. So to access this coastal area, usually difficult. Yeah, some or many of the coastal area has land transportation limited. Yeah, that's why we are thinking that we need to come out with the different approach of the fecal sludge management, which is we work with the fecal sludge management on site, that kind of things. And also in the island, for example, there is no the fecal sludge treatment plan. There is no fecal sludge treatment plan exists actually. And the BSF, black soldier fly larva, is widely used in Indonesia mainly for organic waste management or treatment. But some of the paper mention that it also has a great potential to treat the fecal sludge. So we try to manage it, and when we go with the coastal area, so there will be the salinity that becomes a problem. So actually the fecal sludge treatment is also applied in one of the coastal area in Indonesia, and it seems there's the problem, like the larva doesn't really eat the fecal sludge. And the hypothesis is it's because the salinity of the fecal sludge. So we take the sample. First is from the non-saline area, which is our city in Bandung as the non-coastal area. And then we take another fecal sludge from Waragembong, which is the estuary area, that we hope it has some salinity. And in the non-saline fecal sludge, we add some salt to adjust the salinity. So we adjust it from the without any salinity or lower than 1% salinity, and then adjust it. The second one is the salinity 1%, and then salinity 2%, 3%, up until 4%. And then because we then realized that actually the fecal sludge is quite watery, so we also add the bulking agents to it, which is sawdust, to make it more dense. And then we run the reactor, it's in the tray base actually, for 15 days using the 7 days old larva. And then here is actually the concentration or the characteristic about the fecal sludge. The fecal sludge from Bandung, the salinity is 0.113. And then from Waragembong, because it's estuary, so the salinity will be has a huge range, and we just get it's actually not really far. It's 0.257. But what I want to mention here, we saw that actually the water content in the estuary area is higher, and also related to the total solid nitrogen, and then the phosphate is much lower than from fecal sludge from Bandung area. Then when we already ran the research, we got the first one. We are measuring the larva weight. So this is the it's not working. Okay, the change of the larva weight in the 15 days, and it seems that actually the sludge, the one that has a really great trend, or the increasement of the larva weight, is the one without the salinity, 0.113. While the salinity 1% until 4% show the decrease of the larva weight, the decrease of the increasement of the larva weight, the total increasement of the larva weight. But if we compare the one with low salinity from the Bandung area compared with the estuary area, even the estuary area show the total weight increasement that is slower or smaller compared with the Bandung 1% salinity. So we conclude actually the one that becomes the matter other than salinity is also the content of the nutrition of the fecal sludge itself. And based on the statistical, this weight gain decrease significantly after the salinity are bigger than 2% salinity. Okay, this is just the figure, what we do. So we compare the comparison of the size of the larva from the Bandung 0, which is we do not add any salt, and then Bandung 1, which is we add salt up until 1%, and then up until 4%, up until 4% to here, and then the Muara Gembong 1 from estuary, and then the last one is the control, only the sawdust. Okay. And the next, we also measure, actually from the trend, we see that the weight increasement becomes slower and slower and slower. And then we think the first hypothesis is about the nutrient that is become smaller and smaller. But what we found, there is also another factor, which is while the BSF work, because of the BSF works, and also could be some evaporation, in the 15 days, the water content is become smaller, smaller, and smaller also. And it makes the salinity become higher day by day. So it could be it could be affected the work of the BSFL also. Okay, next we also looking for the survival rate, and it show a bit similar with the larva weight trend, which is the highest one is the one we thought with smallest salinity, but the 1% salinity still comes higher than the one from the estuary, which is lower salinity, lower salinity, but also lower nutrition. And it's significantly decreased the survival rate after 1% of salinity. Next, also the similar trend found in the waste reduction index. So we see from the larva itself, and then the second, of course, because our target is to reduce the fecal sludge, so we also see the waste reduction index from its weight. So it's also give the same trend, which is the percentage of waste reduction index is become decreasing as the salinity increasing, and also it's significantly decreased after 2% salinity. Yeah, this is actually we conclude based on the weight of the larva and also the weight of the reduction weight of the fecal sludge, and we comes out with the bioconversion rates that also give the same trend. But in here we see that yes, after the 1% or higher than 1% salinity show the significant decrease of the work of the BSFL. Yeah, and we also see not only the weight base, but also the total organic carbon of the feed that also give, it actually works. So the total organic carbon is become lower, and it's still lower up until 15 days. With the trend, the highest one is actually the without salinity, and the lowest one is the highest salinity. But what we found about the nitrogen is a little bit different. The nitrogen in the first 7 days, it's become smaller, but after the 7 days, it's become higher. It's something that we are thinking why it happens. So actually, the first assumption or the first hypothesis is about because the nutrition is not that much compared with the TOC, so the concentration effect while the water content in the sample is become lower and lower, makes the concentration of nitrogen is also becomes more dense. Yeah, and also actually there is the nitrogen fraction changing that could be happen, that we got the increasement in the nutrients. The same profile with the phosphate, yeah, compare with phosphate compare with the nitrogen. As the last part, we also compare. So from this research, based on the characteristic of the residue of the system, which is the larva itself, what we can do with it. So we see there are some application up until now, like as the fish feed, and then as the catfish feed, and also as the like a chicken feed, that kind of things. So in here we compare it with the standard for each application, and we get that the BSFL has fecal sludge reduction ability, and it's also comply with fairy feed type to boost provided nutrients based on the standard of the nutrients required for the animals feed, that kind of things. Okay, as the conclusion, we found that BSFL weight gain was very affected by salinity concentration of feed by increasing environment osmotic pressure and forced BSFL to adapt, which was time consuming and might result metabolic failure. Weight significantly decreased as salinity more than 2% was highest at smaller 0.5. The increasement, the highest one we got from less than 0.5% salinity. And then the nutrition profile of feed also drives importantly the same as salinity decrease. So what can be improved from this research? We can improve the optimized and control feed and environmental conditions such as the water content and temperature, and also in order to set up the salinity level. And then it is highly recommended to add different type of ways to boost feed nutrition profile. So we can like compare it with like edit some other nutritional sources to the fecal sludge to increase the treatment of the BSFL. So that's all for me. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ms. Dyah, for your excellent presentation. I think it's very interesting because we are having a lot of difficulties with fecal sludge and organic the waste in the country, in the world even, right? So they really tried with a very innovative idea, though there are a lot of challenges still, like using in the saline regions. We are also having the same problem, salinity zone, difficult access, where we can't send the vacuum to treat it. But if this kind of innovative technology becomes really useful at the community level, without having much difficulties in terms of the technology, I'm sure community will accept it. So we learned a lot from her presentation, different analytical issues, the problems they faced. And if you have any burning questions at this stage, the floor is open for you to ask questions. Thank you.
So one simple question trying to understand technology, but has there been any analysis or comparative between the normal treatment technology and this new technology based one? Is there any study on that?
Normal treatment technology. Okay. How to say? If we compare it with the like citywide fecal sludge treatment plan, of course the reduction is a lot smaller, and then it's this technology only comply with the small area or small communities, because I forget to put the figure, but we only use the racks, the racks with some trays. So the fecal sludge, we pour it in the trays, and then also the larva, and then put it in the racks for the 15 days, that kind of things. If we compare with the fecal sludge treatment, it's will be really different. But from here, we also, because the BSFL, both in organic solid waste or in the fecal sludge, it's quite interesting. And then the communities develop the interest to it because it can be sell. Yeah, it can be sell as the product for the like chicken feed or the fish feed, that kind of things. Yeah. So about the efficiency, it's how to say. Mainly speaking, if we compare it with in the solid waste overview, if we compare it with the composting, it's how to say, it's work well better because the larva can also eat because it's in the form of eating, yeah? Eat bigger things. But if in the fecal sludge management, a little bit hard to compare it actually. Yeah, maybe that's my answer. Okay. Actually, in Indonesia, moreover, in this kind of condition in the coastal area, usually the gray water from the toilet will go will go to the same treatment plant. But usually, like from the sink, the waste of all, mainly we still discharge it go through the drainage system. Yeah, that's a mainly condition. That's the dominant condition in Indonesia. Even like the Indonesian standard of the septic tank, yeah, for example, now it has two conditions. The first one, while we also treat the gray water inside the septic tank, and the second one, without the gray water to be inside the septic tank. But it's actually mainly about the volume things, that kind of things. But yes, usually the pipe is separate, but also the gray water is not yet managed well also. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Yes.
As you mentioned, it is used at poultry feed. Yep. So what is the community perception to use it as poultry feed?
Okay. Actually, mainly they are okay because it's now it's already common. For example, for the birds feed, yeah, they have the package. It's already dry. So from the larva, it's being dried by oven and then or by the sun, and then pack it into some and then sell it, that kind of things. Mainly, it's no problem with the acceptance. But one of the, because previously we discussed with someone that works a lot, yeah, that has many experience in the BSFL, but it's in the solid waste management. He found out that still, for example, chicken needs additional feed, because while the chicken is only fed by the larva. BSF larva, dried BSF larva. So it has problem with its metabolism, that kind of things. Yeah, he found that kind of thing. So up until now, it's okay to feed it, but with as the additional nutrition, that kind of things. And then actually also in the series of this research, we also try to check is the E. coli or the salmonella exists in the larva or not. And we found out that mainly it's not there anymore. But small amount of our sample still have the salmonella there. That becomes another problems that we need to think to make sure that there's no spreading of the diseases by using this maggot or this BSFL larva.
Was that your answer? But I think that you wanted to learn about the acceptance at the community level, because it's the human feces becoming food, and chickens are eating that, and human will eat that again, right? So I think there are salmonella and others is a dangerous concern. So we need to take care of that before sort of giving it as a poultry feed.
Yes.
But the question here is whether the community like the idea or not, because this is the feces, right?
Okay. Yes. In fact, we haven't had any research about acceptance of the BSFL for fecal sludge. But if we compare with the if solid waste, they are okay. But yeah, we haven't had any research about the acceptance, because this is like the first stage. We want to see is it work or not, that kind of things.
And who are eating these chickens?
For me, it's okay.
All right. Thank you for your nice presentation.
Okay, thank you
Looking
very
forward,
much.
because this is very important. If you can develop a strategy, I think people will accept it at some point when they'll believe that seeing is better than believing, when they see that there is nothing remain there. And it's absolutely fine from scientific point of view, then it will be easy for community to make them convinced that this is something very good, why didn't you try it? But we need to eat first, then we should
Yes.
ask community to eat
Yes.
later.
We
Alright.
we say that okay, I have already eaten it for a while and survive, and then ask the community.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank
Yes.
you very much for
Thank
your
you
nice
very much.
presentation.
Good afternoon,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Is it the third one is present? Okay. So now I would like to invite Mr. Shahadat Hossain to present his fecal sludge management in Sylhet, practices and private sector engagement. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, and I think all are not sleepy, right? After lunch, actually, it's very difficult to hear about these things. So, actually, I'm engineer Shahadat Hossain. So, basically, civil engineer and working in this waste management last 16 years here in Bangladesh for different sectors like solid waste management, fecal sludge management, also the integrated waste management practices here. And we are focusing on the practice with among the private sector as well as the government perceptions, like how the design will comes out, how the implementations and how the capacity and operation maintenance goes on. So our resource will actually the research for the FSM of Sylhet regions. It's a part of a one project of WaterAid, like 50 SFD and WFD preparation project. And we have some regions like in around Bangladesh, we have 50 cities, and we have selected 5 cities from Sylhet regions. You know, Sylhet is not a coastal region, but it is vulnerable for the flash flood. So that's why there is an effect on the FSM practices there. And it's very difficult to manage these issues, like how the solid waste and fecal sludge are implemented, or municipalities, how they manage it. So that's why we are selecting the methodology like household survey. We conducted household survey for all these 5 cities, and also data collections and preparation for the SFD and WFD for the platform you know about the Suzana. So that's why we have introduced the Kobo toolbox, and they are collected the data digitally from household survey, and also we are using some drone footage, like what is the connection between the FSM with the water bodies or the open defecation that practices. That is also very important for us. And also we are focused on the cost effectiveness, how they are opening for their practices of the FSM or like this. So this is our study area, like the selected 5 regions. You know, 2 regions is over near to the Meghalaya mountains, which is flash flood area like Chatok and Bayani Bazar, and 2 is in Simangol and Kamalganj. This is also the lower part, like this is actually the flash flood goes over these districts. So that's why we are selecting these households, and we have household survey for Kobo toolbox and these collections, and methodology already I described. But I just directly want to know like how the results came. So the results actually came like in this sector, we found out that for different almost for the uses of the safety tanks, we found almost that 46 to 57, around 60% people are using these safety tanks that are most commonly used containment system in these five municipalities. And single pit lined drinks is around near to 22 to 42%, unlined 19%, around 5% is actually Sri Mongol, which is very lower in this area. And household without any containment, we found out that almost Nobiganj and Sri Mongol is 10%. So double pit latrine is minimally used and ranging from 1 to 3% across all these areas. And how they dislodge their wastes, like FSM practices for their dislodge practices across these 5 municipalities. Sri Mongol is highest, like 57%. We found out that, and 30% is primarily discharged waste to drains. So that is very harmful for our, for the sustainable solution according to the SDG 6.2. We cannot directly connect with the drains. We have some treatment facilities. So that's why it's very alarming for these areas that directly connect to the drain facility that is goes to the canals and also connected with the rivers. So where is Biani Bajar, about 70 to 8%, and Kamalganj are heavily on the dug holes for disposals. They are using these areas. And nearby water bodies are commonly used in actually Nobiganj and Sri Mongol is around 36 to 21%. We found out that. And for the dislodge minimal, you know that the open ground, there is some disposal is very real is now. Once upon a time, 20 years back, that is very common, but now they are reducing is 2 to 4%. And we have another important question for FSM, like how much they are currently paying for dislodging, like how they are willing to pay or how they are costing their using in every month. Because every household or every per capita income depends on their uses of the dislodging, like around 500 to 1,000 taka like per year. That category actually varies different parts, like 45 to 60%, 46% in Sri Mongol, 43%. So payments between 100 to 1500 is around Chatok in 35. So actually lower payment we found out in Kamalganj. They are paying low because the payments above the 2000 is very rare. So according to these results, we are now found out that across these 5 municipalities, they are willing to pay maximum 1500 taka per year for this dislodging costing for year round. So that's why we are commonly use these dislodging practices, like you know that there is some dislodging facility now in every municipality, some backutax and some facilities also there. They have some calls, they have some apps also. They can fix a date for dislodging their toilets. So actually, we also have another questions like which process we are used for the dislodging. So primarily, they have some bucket and rope method, which is actually for the old methods. But in Vakutech, we have found that there is resilience, and Biani Bajar, like 88% highest reliance on this traditional method. Because actually for the dislodging, there is some operation and maintenance problem for the municipality level. That's why we found out that they are not available all time. When they are need, they did not available. That's why they are actually goes for the old system. That is also an important thing. And manual pumping, electronic pumps, they have the facility, but there is some layer of the facilities provider, that is their online numbers or their mobile numbers are off. Different issues are there. That's why they are using this actually electric pump or manual pumps frequently. And there is one other thing we have, like how the dislodge done by. Actually, the dislodge of 5 municipalities, they have some facilities, like they're using their family members or not, private sweepers, private agencies, municipal sweepers. But actually, we found out that more or less almost 99% they are using the private sweepers. They have some numbers, they are calling them and they came to home and they dislodge. But the private sweeper always dislodge, collect it, and they can drain out in the drainage system. So that is also for harmful for these situations. So that's why it's very difficult to maintain this hygiene practice. Like we have the toilet facilities, we have twin pits, but when dislodging system, they goes to the drain, through the water bodies. So that's why there is a concern for this. So willingness to improve or construct containment, we have some questions of that. So we have low willingness to improve because of the facilities, the respondents of these whole areas, 86 to 94% they found out that actually they are unwilling to invest their better containment. Why? Because of the lack of their awareness practices and also the capacity buildings. So that is very important. So when we can improve this area, so I think this scenario will be changed according to their highest willing to pay, like 14% we found in Srimongol and Biani Bajar both are 10 to 10% that they are willing to actually change the system. They are not provided this actually old system. So these findings suggest financial constraint, lack of awareness also, also absence of incentive, because you know that this is very rare to find out that the persons who are working for the municipality, they are not paid. They are privately paid or something like that, but they are not well paid. The payment was not good. That's why the people are not aware of this. So that is also a social issue, but we need to focus on this when we want to improve the sanitation facilities of this containment system as well as for these 5 municipalities. Then after all these results, we found out 5 SFD. Like sheet flow diagram, you saw that the red mark and color variations, all these things. When you will visit Susanna, you will find out all our 5 reports already published there, and you found out that the gaps, actually the critical gaps is the slush management. That is very important. Majority of waste being unsafely handled. So that is very alarming because we are focusing on that. We are 100% actually sanitation facility provided to the users, but what happens after that? That is the alarming system. They are connected their pipes with the canals. So what has happened? The wastewater comes directly to the canals. So that's why dislodging system is very important. So that is some conclusions we have found out that the women are responsible for carrying flush water and actually cleaning the toilets over 90% of these households. So that's why it's very important for them to train up, and they are excluding for the critical decisions. So that's why the study understand that very pressing into the innovation solutions we need. We pressing twin pit latrines there, and for the dislodging system, we must follow the integrated waste management system. We are now working on this various integrated waste management system here in Bangladesh. Like we are using solid waste management and fecal sludge management, then wastewater comes to the treatment facility, and then we are grinding along with the solid waste which comes from the food waste, and this sludge, it's dry out, that is mixed with this, and then we can make fertilizer, which is have a good market in Bangladesh. So that's why for the Sylhet regions that is starting, and we are also talking with Kamalganj Poroshobha and also Srimongol that they are willing to develop this integrated waste management facility, what is very facilitated to them. So thank you very much. This is all from my side.
Thank you, Engineer Shahadat, for your nice presentation. I think you rightly identified the issues that we are facing in different parts of the country. It's very true that the sanitation, desludging facilities are not really well managed by the local people. And the most alarming thing, as by my understanding, that the sweepers, private sector, they probably, this generation, they are fine, but I have seen in many places the next generation of the sweepers, they are not interested to be involved in this particular sector. That will create a huge vacuum and problem. But vacuum services are there, but it's expensive, and also the accessibility will be a big challenge because you'll not be able to travel with this vacuum truck ins and outs of the different villages. So I think we really need to find out innovative solutions, otherwise the fecal sludge management will be a serious issue in the future. So the floor is open for questions. If anyone have any questions, please.
Hi, sorry, Mark Waite from Soreka. Just interested in the frequency of desludging and how the payment's made. Do families who are having their tanks desludged pay the people direct, and how does all that side of things work? Thank you.
Right. Actually, the sweepers are paid in privately, like they just call them and they dislodge the wastes to the drain out, and there is 500 to 1,000 taka per trip. But in the Bhakutak services, you need to book earlier, otherwise you will not get, and the payment is almost double than the private sweeper. So that's why people are not willing to pay this. That is the problem is. But according to the capacity building or awareness raising, if they will award by that, but they will impose some tax, like if they will not dislodge according to the Bhakutak, then they will not pay it like this. So that's why actually we need to focus on the dislodging system by Bhakutak. Municipality can increase the Bhakutak, and their service can be come out in the mobile apps also, that where when the dislodged Bhakutak is empty, or they can book the trip for their houses.
Whether those municipalities complies with BNBC?
Actually, the BNBC, Bangladesh Building Development, Building National Code, there is actually for they developed for the high-rise building, but for the community, like for the rural area, they are not developing according to this some rules. Actually, they are just following the twin pit latrine. They focused, but for the integrated waste management practices, they are developing some plant which is integrated with the solid waste and the fecal sludge management. They are following this BNBC now.
I would like to know about the sludge management, which are dislodged by manually. You mentioned that connected to the drainage and other. In the rural community, how we can manage this sludge in sustainable way? What are the way forward to manage this
Right.
sludge? And
Right,
another
you
thing,
mentioned there was a project in DPHE with World Bank funded. They are now using community-based fecal sludge management. Like there is a cluster of villages, and there is 10 to 12 houses. All their toilets is connected in a common space. Then the sludge came, and this sludge is actually focused on this like on-site treatment facility. Like you can use planted drying bed, a small planted drying bed, and that is also wastewater that is tinted, and that will be connected with the local water body or something like that. Because it depends also that area is flooded or not. That is also important, because if the area is flooded, then you need to raise up these facilities.
okay. And another question as well as you conduct this study in Silet area, but we know that the tea gardens are located in the Silet, Sri Mongol and others. What about those protected community? How we can manage the sludge?
Right. Actually, there is another project for tea garden facilities. There I have some projects with WaterAid also. Like they are using some tea garden. They who are collecting this tea from the tea garden. They are supposed to come to their toilet facilities in their factory. So their factory 4 to 5 toilets, series of toilets is there. And there is some treatment like they are using twin pit, but when the dislodging system, they dislodge this in nearby water body or some drains. That is their current practice. But we are also talking with them that they are not aware of this, that they will be called by some municipalities, that they will come to the factory for dislodging by Bhakutak. Because actually, this is very important. 99% area we know that they are not aware of this Bhakutak. That is the problem is. So when they will know, they will call or they will. So that's why we need to actually displace this actually the problems, like we need to aware of this. Like we are making, or we can have some local level discussions, consultations with the local people, have some programs, how they will call the Bhakutak or how they will use that. Then people will be aware, I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. We have very little time, so yeah, just if yeah, please.
So just one question regarding
Sure.
that technology in your methodology. You said you used a drone footage.
Yeah, drone
To
footage.
analysis.
Yeah, we use drone UAV footage for the connection with the toilet and the water bodies, because from the overall the videos comes out that there is many connections, the pipes with the toilet to the canals. So that's why wastewater or the flushing water, many wastes come to the canals. But these canals also using by the local people for washing or something. So that's why this is a hygienic issue. That's why we are using some drone videos. How many toilet is connected? We found out that one canal there is 100 plus toilet pipeline is connected.
Do you have any maps on it and field data about the?
Yeah, of course we have. We have the detailed maps because we have using the Kubota toolbox. So that's why all the lat long of this household, of the dumping stations, secondary, primary dumping, and also dislodging point comes out.
This is any aerial data.
Yeah, aerial data, right?
We can connect the link between the source of
of course.
contamination.
Yeah, of course,
Okay.
of course.
We conducted a study with funding from WaterAid in Soedpur, where we surveyed all different types of the toilets and their the size of the toilets, and we also came up with a software. Then when a particular toilet will be filled, and then you will get the notification through SMS and all that. So there's a fantastic study is there. If anyone is interested, please ask WaterAid to share, to get this the report so that you can have better idea about these issues. You want to say something? Yeah. Our area, as I mentioned earlier, accessibility is a big issue because it's a truck, but you don't have that much of space. So you really need to find a lot of innovative ideas locally. So you should involve local people to find the locally suitable technology. And this is not something we are saying for the first time. We have been saying, but we are not doing. Hopefully, so with these old findings like the black flies, I think that has a lot of potential, as I can understand. So we need to really looking forward to some of these innovative ideas so that we can still provide services for areas where traditional technologies are really feasible. And I'm really thankful to all of you to participate in these sessions. It was really enjoyable. We learned a lot. I'm really giving special thanks to the presenter. Really sort of presented nice the topics. We learned a lot from your presentation, and we're looking forward to success of this presentation, particularly the chickens and also the feed, and also the innovative region-specific solutions, as Arjun mentioned, and also innovative solutions for the entire country, where everyone will be will participate. Particularly the women engagement is very important for a country like us in developing innovative designs. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed, and looking forward to seeing you. I told that another one is absent. That was Farah told me. My apologies. Farah told me you have time because we have 3 presenters. I'm extremely sorry for that. Please. I'm extremely sorry. What is Farah? Farah, you told me that we have 3 presenters. So please welcome. I'm again extremely sorry for that.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, thank you that I can come here in Dhaka. So, for invited me here. So, I think it's for the first time I come here in Dhaka. So, I'm a lecturer in ITB in Department of Environmental Engineering. And my title for this presentation is about visual improvement for domestic wastewater in Indonesia. So subtitle is examination, sanitation and behavior change across Indonesian cities. So two of my colleagues, Wika and also Prasanti. So as background, we know that around 8% of houses in Indonesia are classified as a slum, in slum area. So they are located mainly near the river bank. And then this slum area typical have a poor sanitation and also for waste disposal. And we know that there are many programs in Indonesia, for example, Sanimas program. And this program is special, that visual improvement project. And for this program, some of them made by the community, some of them made by local government. So in the right picture, you can see that the condition before the visual improvement and after, and from different cities. This study I made around 5 years for different cities. For this presentation, I saw only 5 cities. So you can look here, 4 of them in Java Island, and then 1 is from in Manado in North Sulawesi. The objective of this research is assess the effectiveness of visual improvement project in improving sanitation behavior. And then analyze the change in domestic wastewater and also solid waste management. So how about the community after and before and after the visual improvement? And we will compare the outcomes of different cases in this location. And how about the methodology for this research? We will compare the study for these 3 urban slums across the Indonesia, and then we take some questionnaire from the community, of course with different density for these 5 cities. And then we try to analyze the questionnaire. We try to use the theory of plant behavior to analyze how about the behavior change about this program. Sorry. So this is a case study. I think I only show as a general condition. We take some villages in Yogyakarta, Bandung, Tangerang, Semarang, and Manado. And of course, this condition from the community engagement is also very different, yeah? And funding, and sometimes from, sometimes the community will pay by themselves, but some industry gives some paint, and the community make by themselves for their house. And another case, the local government give also some funding, yeah. Yeah, this is the other location in Malang, Kampung Jobidan, Jodipan, and also Kampung Pelangi 200, not far in Bandung. So we can look at the Kampung Jodipan in Malang. They have a successful integrated visual improvement with sanitation awareness, yeah? And we can see that why they can success until now. If you go there, you can find this condition. And because the resident benefit economical through the tourists. So because of the colorful in this area, so local tourists will come in this area, and the community can get some benefit. They sell something, souvenir, or someone will come in this village, they should pay around $1. And the other condition in Kampung Pelangi in Bandung, the condition is not so good until now. Why? Because lack of financial sustainability, leading to moral and minimal sanitation impact. And also the location in this area is too far from the main street. So someone should more walk until achieve in this area. But in Jodipan, from the main street, we can see this beautiful condition from this village. So this is an example, finding community perception. With a visual improvement, increase awareness of solid waste management. So the community will care about the solid waste, but limited impact on domestic wastewater management due to infrastructure costs. Of course, if they will build a septic tank or pit latrine, they need more money, and normally they don't have money. So behavior change was strong in communities with tourist-based income. So I think from this research we find something. So waste and sanitation behavior. So I think part of them I have already explained. So the waste management improved in visual exchange area in some 3 locations, but in domestic wastewater handling remain poor without external financial aids. So they have domestic wastewater, they flow through the river, without treatment. So I think should be the local government should do something. And the community priorities visible cleaners offer the waste water treatment. So the key internal factors, so I have already said that the location, geographic location. So this condition in Malang is very nice, So we can see that first in the right village, they built this visual improvement, and then the other village, they said, oh, that's nice, and feel tourists come in this village. So why not we make also like that? And then the local government make a bridge, so the tourists can walk from this village to the other village. So now as local tourists can come here, domestic tourists, I don't know, for foreign tourists. So, it means that the social cohesion determine community engagement and maintains efforts. So local cultural attitudes shape the sanitation behavior. And then another factor, some of them, for example, here in Malang, the government support and policy implementation are crucial for success, and also CSR funding, they help also, for sustained visual improvement projects. So you still have find this condition until now. And then, of course, weather and climate condition impact to the longevity of mural and base improvement. This is some example, some mural, combine visual improvement with structured sanitation planning, and develop sustainable financial models, yeah, tourist fee, government support, yeah. So increase community participation in project design and execution. So as conclusion, so we can make some visual improvement alone, yeah, do not ensure better wastewater management. But solid waste management is okay. But for domestic, so we need more money for infrastructure. Yeah. So economic incentive tourist finding, exchange sustainability of sanitation project. So how can the stakeholder collaboration to improve long-term sanitation impact?
Thank you.